You simply couldn't ask for a nicer day for a ball game. Right on the cusp between summer and autumn. The Mets play on a Saturday afternoon, and the fans are making their way into Citi Field. Lots of kids on hand hoping for a foul ball or two, showing off their colors as the Mets play the Nats. At Citi Field in New York, Pick Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets play the Washington Nationals. Today's game is brought to you in high def by Verizon Fios. If you're not watching in Fios HD, see what you're missing. Call 1-888-GET-FIOS. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez. Nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
With you from Citi Field as the Mets and the Washington Nationals play the middle game of their three-game series. The Nats won last night 6-5. The Mets were down 6-2 going to the bottom of the ninth, rallied, and then lost in what seemed like very familiar fashion.
Well, we're going to show you a little B-roll here of a game back on August 23rd. The same hitter, bases loaded. You remember this ball. Maybe you don't want to remember the triple play against the Phillies that ended a Met rally. And there is Frank Cora's reaction. Well, last night, what would Yogi say? Deja vu all over again? The pitcher almost threw it away. That was Mike McDougal, but that ended that rally. That ball gets through. The Mets win the ball game. They do not, and there is Frank Cora's reaction. So it's just been one of these kind of years where nothing's gone right for the Mets, and they're hoping to get a win today over the last place Nationals.
And Jeff Francoeur, despite that frustration, had another three-hit game. He's had 5 of those in his last 8 starts. He'll try and do it again today against John Lannon, the Long Beach, Long Island native, who has been very difficult for the Mets to hit in his last 2 starts against them.
Well, he's 2-1 against the Mets this year. The first start of the year, he got off to a very bad start. The Mets kind of lit him up. But the last 2 starts, complete games, he has been brilliant. We liked his stuff, Gary, the minute we saw him. Obviously, we're not being prejudiced because he's a Long Beach native. He's really got good stuff. He's a tough left-hander. I'm looking forward to watch him pitch today.
For the Mets, Tim Redding, the former Washington National, who over the 5 starts since he's plugged a hole in the rotation has pitched awfully well.
Well, he got an opportunity to pitch, and it's been a disappointing season for Mr. Redding. I'm sure he's not happy with it, but he has been pitching better lately. He's pitching against his old mates. Mets got him from Washington. We'll see how it shakes out today, this afternoon. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
Redding lost a 1-0 decision to Pedro Martinez and the Phillies in his last start on Sunday night. So it's the Mets and the Nats playing the middle game of 3 from Citi Field on a gorgeous afternoon. Come on back. All the action coming your way this afternoon on Pix 11. forward. By Verizon Fios, over 100 HD channels and the fastest internet. This is Fios. This is big. By Capital One Bank, what's in your wallet? By Raymore and Flanagan, furnishing your style. By Honda, the 2009 Honda clearance is here, but it ends soon. Hurry into your Honda dealer today. And by BP, help your car run younger for longer. Try BP gasoline with Invigorate. Visit the official online shop of the Mets at Mets.com. Browse the largest online selection of authentic team gear, including official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. Get your team gear straight from the source. Shop the Mets.com shop.
And today's keys of the game are brought to you by Capital One Bank. What's in your wallet? And don't worry, folks, I don't have a battle axe. I just have the keys to the game. And that is the Mets figure out John Lannon, who has been awful tough over the few years in the big leagues against the Mets. Get some run support for Redding, and Frank Corr. Keep swinging that red-hot bat. Find a hole when the men are on base late. Don't hit him at the pitcher where they can knock it down.
You got any more to add?
That's it.
Well, you can go on all day if you want.
I'm feeling good.
Game's not going to start for a few minutes. Beautiful afternoon in New York. First pitch, Mets and Nats, is coming your way in a jiff.
Russ.
The starting lineups for the Washington Nationals today brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. Ian Desmond, who played second base last night, will play right field today for the first time in his life. I mean, ever. Major leagues, minor leagues, high school, little league. It'll be an interesting adventure for Mr. Desmond as Pete Orr, the former Atlanta Brave, gets the start at second base. Josh Willingham had the big night last night in the field and with the bat hit the home run in the ninth inning that turned out to be the decisive run of the game.
And the Chevy Mets defense, throw a little wrinkle at you today. We're doing the defense first, the pitcher. We got the 18th start at shortstop for Wilson Valdez, who has done a great job. He's a very fine glove at shortstop and also has been hitting. So that's why that man's getting lots of playing time.
No Carlos Beltran today, not because he tripped over first base last night, but because it's simply a day game after a night game, and they're going slow with Carlos right now. He should be back in the lineup tomorrow. Well, you got kids out on the field at every position to greet their Met favorites and get an autograph. And General Martin Dempsey is throwing out the first pitch.
That's a general. Is he a 1-star? 2-star? He's in good shape. How many stars? Can't tell. Outstanding.
He and Josh Tolley posing for pictures.
He looks like a general.
Very commanding.
Yes. Beautiful. Can't. Are you kidding? There's a 4-star on him. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
It's big time.
That is huge. That's a full general.
You watch what you say now.
Yes, sir. And today's starter, Tim Redding, came over from the Nationals in the offseason. You see, this will be his 15th start of the year, not a season that he'll probably want to remember, but trying to salvage something out of it. Has pitched so much better of late. His last outing against Philadelphia at Philly, went 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. He's pitched good now the last 5 times, 4 out of 5 times. And the only bad outing he had was Florida. Florida kind of touched him up, but he's been on the upswing.
Well, he re-entered the rotation when the Mets released Livan Hernandez, has gone over to Washington and pitched well. Will not pitch in this series, but Redding has a 3.07 ERA in these 5 starts. Problem is the Mets scored 10 runs for him in his win in Florida, but in the other 4 starts they scored 1, 2, 2, and then none in his last start when they got shut out by Pedro Martinez and the Phillies. Redding gave up just 1 run in 6 innings in that game, allowed just 3 hits.
Another nice crowd. Gare, we were surprised last night. We had a beautiful crowd last night, and a beautiful day for baseball today. A nice crisp fall afternoon. As a player, Gary, you love this. After a summer of humidity, look at the kids. A summer full of humidity, which wasn't that bad this summer. But you always a welcome relief in September when that humidity just gets out of Dodge and the nice dry weather comes in. Nice tie you got there, buddy.
Well, you know, it's very hard for me to match you today. I don't know where you got that shirt, but that is one of the great striped concoctions I've ever seen.
Thank you. Reminiscent of the 60s in London, the mod look.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, the middle of that hippy-dippy stuff. I kind of like it. My wife chose it, actually.
So you were a mod, not a rocker.
Well, wasn't old enough then. I'm glad I missed that.
Willie Harris takes the call strike. So you're thinking Carnaby Street?
Yes. Yeah. Like in Terrence Stamp and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and that sort of thing.
Yes, I remember them. Harris 0 for 4 last night. And takes low and inside from Redding, who's faced his old mates once this year. Pitched a good game in D.C. against the Nationals back in June. Allowed just 1 run over 6 innings and no decision for him. Harris getting another start in center field. A little surprising they're not playing Justin Maxwell, who's a good-looking young prospect. But Harris, a veteran bat, and he lifts the first offering into center field, and shading his eyes from the sun, Angel Pagan to stay with it for the first out of the game.
Well, Harris in this series has just hit too many balls in the air. He is not a strong guy. He's got to hit line drives, ground balls, utilize his speed.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now the shortstop Christian Guzman, who was 1 for 4 last night.
Got more than they bargained for.
Brings back wonderful memories for me.
You had Twinkies?
They're 18 now.
Wow.
They wouldn't fit in that stroller. They wouldn't necessarily want to sit next to each other in the stroller either.
Who's the alpha?
That's a hard thing to say. Shallow left. Valdez with a beautiful running grab. Not a whole lot of air under that ball, and Wilson Valdez really had to scoot to get to it. 2 away.
Well, we mentioned when we showed you the Mets defense, Valdez has a very good glove, can run, and nice play, covered a lot of ground. That was all about getting to the ball. The catch was an automatic. Nicely done.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ryan Zimmerman will step in. Zimmerman delivered the keynote last night with a 2-run homer in the first inning off Mike Pelfrey. Pelfrey gave up a couple of home runs last night in his 7 innings of work.
That's what beat him. The two run shots. And stunning the home run last night down the right field line. Just over the Sponge Tech sign down the right field line.
30th home run of the year for Zimmerman, who's driven in 96 and scored 100 runs this year. For a Nationals team that's had a pretty good offensive year.
We can call this corner Sponge Tech corner if we really wanted to. There's the home run last night.
It's a corner that's inspired many names.
I didn't care for your original name for that right field corner there.
I noticed that. Off the fists, and Daniel Murphy comes in with the glasses on to squeeze it. A 1-2-3 opening for Tim Redding. It took him just 7 pitches. Mets come up in the bottom of the first, no score. This is brought to you by Raymore and Flanagan, furnishing your style. Here's your Mets starting lineup, brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. No Carlos Beltran today, so Jeff Francoeur slides back into the cleanup spot. He's been red hot. 5 3-hit games in his last 8 starts. Josh Tolley gets the start behind the plate after Brian Schneider caught last night. 9th career start for Tolley.
And there's the starting pitcher, Long Beach native John Lannon. He's having a good year, coming off a win at Florida. His last start, 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 run.
Angel Pagan 1 for 4 last night, and he takes outside from Lannon. Angel 1 for 4 in the game last night, and that gave him a 19-game Citi Field hitting streak. Pops one up, done in foul territory. And that's the first out.
We'll take a look at the defense, brought to you by ChevyOffers.com, and you notice that everybody has sunglasses on today. It's 11 start at second base for Pete Orr. As Gary mentioned, Ian Desmond gets his first start ever in right field, in a tough right field here at Citi Field. But notice the shadows here. This is the first time in this ballpark. Remember, Shea was always a tough day game during September. It was a tough sun field. Well, notice the shadow behind John Lannon. And Gary, I believe you mentioned that the sun will set more at this time of year over the third base dugout.
Well, that's the way it's been for most of the day games that we've witnessed so far this year, that the sun has set to the third base side, and so right field has been the sun field.
Well, as the earth continues its tilt, the sun's in a different spot. It's tough on the center fielder, it looks like.
Right about at the equinox now.
Yes.
Castillo's thrown out by Guzman for the second out. Well, it's fascinating. You mentioned Desmond because, you know, this is his first game ever to play in the outfield anywhere at any level, and here he is playing this enormous right field with the recess at the Mo zone, and playing on a bright sunny day with the sunglasses on his hat.
Well, look how they're playing the defense. This is through the first 2 batters, now the third batter. They've got the center fielder out there in Willie Harris shading towards Desmond, but look at Willingham on the left. He's over there playing pretty much straight up, so they're kind of trying to cover for Desmond and Wright, but they're leaving a huge gap in left center field.
And of course, David Wright hit one to the wall in left center last night that Willingham made a jumping catch on, and Wright bluffing a bunt. That may be the first time all year we've seen David do that. David was 1 for 5 last night, hitting .414 against lefties this year. And Lyman ahead of him 0-2.
Well,
one and two. Well, Josh Willingham in left field, sunglasses on. Willie Harris center field, sunglasses on. Ian Desmond with the least experience out there, no sunglasses.
He's a Chase Lounge.
Didn't need him in the first inning. Lannon strikes out right with a changeup. 1-2-3 inning for Lannon, and we go to the second with no score. Take the train to Citi Field as the series with the Nationals concludes tomorrow afternoon at 1:10 p.m. Mass transit is the faster, easier, and greener way to Citi Field. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets. Now, bet you they took the subway. It's a smart way to come to the ballpark.
It's a great way to come to the park.
And they're allowed to have their sunglasses on their hat because they don't have to catch fly balls. Adam Dunn pulls the first pitch foul.
When I had tickets at the U.S. Open, I would always take the subway to the U.S. Open, home and back.
Did you have to wear sunglasses?
During the day, yeah.
No, I just meant in order to, remain somewhat incognito.
No. People are always nice. I kind of love it myself.
You do?
I love the attention.
The adulation?
No, the attention.
The fawning?
The attention.
Dunn with 37 home runs is driven in 99, having a typical Adam Dunn kind of a year. If he can hit 3 more home runs, he'll have 40 or more for the 6th straight year. And if he hits exactly 3 more home runs, he'll hit exactly 40 for the 5th straight year, which is stunning.
Well, don't think he's not aware of it. And that's when you start falling into problems, trying to force it. He's down, 14 games remaining? Is that what it is, 14?
I think they have 15. The Mets have 14.
You can start, all of them can get lodged in the throat.
Well, Dunn had 4 at-bats last night. He had 4 fly ball outs, including one that he was very disappointed that he didn't get. Breaking ball. Popped up a mile high down the line into that difficult area, but it'll go out of play. That short fence where the wall comes very close to the field, we saw that right from the first game played here at Citi Field. It's a very dangerous spot.
Well, right there at the angle too, and they've got it pretty padded up, as they should.
Chad has it covered.
Chad's got the sunglasses working.
Smart boy. Two and two to Adam Dunn. And he struck him out. High fastball from Redding got it to 91 miles an hour. First strikeout of the afternoon for Redding.
Nicely done. And Dunn, like so many left-hand hitters, is a low ball hitter. See that angle of the bat? Drops his back shoulder. The bat's got to have the same angle, and you'll swing right through that pitch upstairs.
Josh Tolley's eyes when he caught that ball?
No.
Wide shut.
Wasn't there a movie called that?
Yes, 4 up and 4 down for Redding. Here's Josh Willingham, and he takes the curveball outside.
It was a stinker, I think.
Eyes wide shut. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but everybody said it was a stinker.
That's why we didn't see it. Willingham 2 for 4 last night, including a home run in the 9th inning off Brian Stokes.
Oh, here we go. Oh, there we go. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Again?
Whoops. Wrong hat.
I love it when he pulled the rhino out.
Willingham gets tied up, but it missed, and it's 3-0. Willingham has a couple of home runs off Redding in 13 career at-bats. It's unbelievable to me that it took nearly 2 months for the Nationals to figure out that Josh Willingham needed to play every day. I mean, off what we saw from Willingham as a Marlin the last couple of years. But until Jim Riggleman took over from Manny Acta as the manager, Willingham was basically the 4th outfielder.
Well, every manager has different preferences, people that he likes, his kind of players. Don't think that doesn't come into play. And let's remember that this Nationals team in April, when they broke camp, they had just a ton of outfielders. They had Elijah Dukes, they had last season Millage, they had Willingham, but they had six. Yes,
Austin Curran.
They had 6 outfielders, if I recall, that could probably play for more than a few teams.
3-2 to Willingham down the right field side, and that'll go foul. Well, you could understand why they wanted to see whether Millage could play center. You could understand why they'd want to put Dukes out there with his talent. What confused me was their insistence for most of the season on playing Austin Curran, who had a terrible year last year and a terrible year this year. But I guess because they were paying him a lot of money, they figured he had to get the first crack at it.
Well, he was the
broken bat toward the middle. Castillo shuffling over, and the sidearm toss. Good stretch by Murphy. Stays on the bag for the second out.
Well, nice play also by Louis at second base. Luis, I should say, that sounds much better than Louis. Not so much to get into the ground ball, but he knew he had to get rid of it quick. Showed a strong arm there. That's a bang-bang play right there. Nice play, Luis. And nice stretch by Daniel. There you go. You're getting it. You're kind of getting the footwork around the bag a little better.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Pete Orr, and he pops one up. Castillo flips the glasses down. And Louis puts it away with 2 hands, and Tim Redding off to a fast start. 6 up and 6 down for Redding to the bottom of the second. No score. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. Find your nearest dealer on ChevyOffers.com. Jeff Francoeur leads off the home second and takes low and away from John Lannon. Francoeur over the last 8 games hitting .472. And he drives one toward the gap in left center field. That's going to be between him and all the way to the wall. Francoeur just keeps on hitting. A leadoff double, the first hit for either side. Jeff's 29th double of the year.
Well, we talked about Willie Harris kind of shading over to right center and mentioned that left center field gap. This is a rocket, and this is a fastball right down Broadway. And Jeff has just been tremendous. Tremendico.
This is Jeff Francoeur's 63rd game as a Met. He is now hitting .318 in a Mets uniform. And he's up to .280 for the season. And you think about where he was and how messed up he was when the Mets made the deal with the Braves to get him. It has been a renaissance over these last couple of months for Francoeur.
Well, he's playing with that bad thumb too. It's going to require surgery in the offseason.
Tatis gets down a bunt. Lannon out to field it and throws out Tatis, so it'll be scored a sacrifice, moving Francoeur to third. Interesting call, whether it was on Jerry's part or on Fernando's.
I think Fernando put down a drag.
We saw David Wright bluff a bunt earlier in the game. And now Tatis dropping one down. So a runner at third. The infield comes in for Daniel Murphy, who promptly drives the run in with a base hit to right. Francoeur in to score, and it's 1-0 New York. 57th run batted in for Daniel Murphy, who wasted no time.
First ball fastball hitting. There's that smile on Francoeur's face. He's always sunny side up, isn't he? Let's see the pitch here. Fastball down. Hit the down and in. Good pitch, but Murph, who after that costly error in Atlanta has just been swinging the bat great. 3 for 4 the following day.
Well, the Mets had not scored an earned run against John Lannon in his last 2 starts. A complete game victory in June and then a complete game shutout in July. He had allowed just 1 unearned run total in those 2 games against the Mets. So the Mets finally scratch against Lannon. Wilson Valdez has been swinging a hot bat, 5 for 9 over the last 3 games. And he grounds one down to third. Zimmerman a chance for 2, or with a turn, and the 5-4-3 double play ends the inning. But the Mets grab the lead on Daniel Murphy's RBI single. First run of the game brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Mets lead 1-0 after 2. Who's Hot is brought to you by Hyundai. Now Hyundai Assurance can even lower your price at the pump. Albert Pujols hot. Well, he's always hot. Heading for his second straight MVP award. Rajai Davis for the A's, who've all of a sudden won 5 in a row. He's been a big reason for that. Bronson Arroyo for the bedraggled Reds has attempted to finish the season strong. And he is hot.
Huh.
Nice cheeks.
Interesting, Albert Pujols will become the first Cardinal, we think, to win the MVP award twice. Musial won 3 MVPs for the Cardinals, and Roger Hornsby won it twice as a Cardinal. There's not very many double repeat consecutive year MVPs over the years, Gare.
Well, Yogi Berra,
Jimmy Fox,
Dale Murphy,
Mickey Mantle.
Mantle won 2 in a row.
Yep.
56 and 57.
I'm not sure.
Desmond lifts one to right field. Pagan over in the gap, shading his eyes and staying with it to retire Desmond for the first out. 7 up and 7 down for Tim Reddick.
Ernie Banks won it twice in a row.
Right.
Mike Schmidt, Joe Morgan, and the one that you folks will have a hard time getting is a pitcher that won it 2 years in a row.
Back in the War years.
It's Hal Newhouser
With the Tigers. How about Cardinals have won the MVP? Bob Gibson won the MVP.
Bob in '68, Willie McGee, Cepeda in '67.
A guy named Hernandez, I think, also
shared it with Mr. Stargell. I'm trying to think if there was Boyer was MVP in '64, wasn't he? David, you looked that up. I think Boyer won the Kenny won the MVP in '64.
Josh Bard who hit a 2-run homer last night.
Joe Torre won it in
71 the year in 363.
Correct. Cardinals have a lot of MVPs over their career.
10 World Series championships too, more than any other National League team.
Yes, Boyer did win it in '64. And Kenny, of course, had the big blow in that '64 World Series off Al Downing right down the left field line, grand slam. I jumped out of my seat in school on the radio when our teacher allowed us to listen to the World Series on the radio in the '64 World Series.
Now, you were a Mantle fan growing up.
Right.
So you were rooting for the Yankees?
No, I was always in National League.
Yeah.
But don't forget, my dad played with Musial in the war in 1945 in Pearl Harbor, the Navy team.
Bard rolls over one. Castillo with plenty of time, and there are 2 out.
Dizzy Dean, 34, of course. And then, gentlemen, Jim Bottomley, was an outstanding Hall of Fame first baseman.
Jim Bottomley, who shares the record for most runs batted in a game with 12.
He won it in 28. Redbirds are steeped in history. That's right. Mort Cooper, the catcher, 1942.
Part of the brother battery.
And there's more.
With Walker Cooper.
Marty Marion in 44, of course. Shortstop. Marty Marion in Old Bush Stadium. Remember the restaurant, Gary, over up on the left field terrace there? He ran that restaurant for years.
1-1 to Lannon, who has 8 hits this year. Well, Pujols should have a very full trophy case by the time his career is over. He has had as good an 8-year stretch as any player's ever had to begin a career.
No, he's the best player in the game. Unarguably.
2-1 and Lannon fouls it off. That's upcoming schedule brought to you by Chase. Chase what matters. One more game of this series tomorrow. John Maine against Garrett Mock. And then 3 with the Braves to finish this homestand before the Mets go to Florida and Washington for their final road trip of the year. 2-2 to Lannon. Fouled away.
Well, the Phillies did what they had to do last night, and that was stop that 8-game winning streak of Atlanta's. You know, when you got a lead, you win the first game in the series and they head up. You know, you just don't want to get swept. You know, you lose 2 out of 3, you'll drop a game, you're running out of time. You win 2 out of 3, of course, you gain a game.
Redding gets Lannon with a high fastball, and Redding's gone perfectly through the order first time around. 9 up and 9 down. Mets come up at the bottom of the 3rd, leading 1-0.
Would
Watching the Picks Game of the Week could land you some amazing seats at Citi Field during every Mets game here on Picks. We're giving you a chance to score free tickets to an upcoming game brought to you by the new McCafe coffees made with fresh ground espresso now at McDonald's. So tune in to the Picks Game of the Week all season long for your chance to win free Mets tickets. A couple of the fans in the big crowd here at Citi Field.
Met fans.
Josh Thole leads off the home third inning against John Lannon. Thole 11 for 31 in his brief major league career, hitting at .355.
Notice his widespread stance. That's something he changed.
It's went sharply to the second baseman Orr, and Thole retired for the first out. And that'll bring up Tim Redding. Tim Redding coming to bat. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, guys, every player has their routines in the offseason or their things they look forward to. And Redding is a huge outdoorsman. He loves to hunt, so I guess it makes sense. So what he's looking forward to is his new house, which he built. It's a log cabin, all natural. He said there's no insulation, no nothing, just the logs, and everything inside the house is natural. The only thing between the logs is a little bit of weather stripping. That's it. He showed me some pictures of the house. It's pretty cool, actually. It's in the middle of the woods in Michigan, and his man cave, it's his barn. Outside, he's got a huge barn where there's a full pitching mound, batting cage with some room to work out there, and he's got his hunting gear. So he told me, I haven't even been in it. I'm really looking forward to getting home and getting a little rest, but getting a chance to work out. It's kind of his home away from home. On that same conversation, guys, as he smokes away in the center, and Redding going to have himself a base hit here. Cut off by Willie Harris, who'll have a single. He said, look, I'm pitching to try and come back here next year. I know I haven't had the best of years, but I'd really like to be back if it all works out, and certainly off to a good start today, guys. Back to you.
Second hit of the year for Redding. Are you meaning to tell me, Kevin, that he's got a log cabin up in the woods in Michigan that he's going to spend time in the winter with no insulation?
He says, this is from him, and he would know. He says it's a natural insulator. So obviously he's got heat.
Yeah.
But he says you don't need the insulation, which I guess better for him to find out than me. But yeah, that's the deal.
Well, I'm sure he's got a fireplace.
Little maybe wood stove.
He does have a stove, Gary. Good call.
It's not something I could picture myself ever doing. So
Well, can you imagine?
all power to Mr. Redding.
Back in the old days, that was part of your summer chores. You just all of a sudden can't chop wood to have firewood for the winter. That's an all summer job, so you don't freeze to death in the winter. I don't know how those people made it.
Well, even now, I mean, when I lived up in New Hampshire, this is 25 years ago, everybody I knew up there chopped wood all summer to use during the winter, right? Because that's how they heated their houses.
Well, guys, I asked him, how in the middle of the woods are you? And he brought out a picture of his backyard where one picture had wild turkeys, the next had a couple of coyotes. So I'd say he's pretty in the middle of it, matter of fact.
Got to keep those coyotes away from the wild turkeys.
Do they have those in New York, Eric?
It's ugly. Actually, up where I live, they do. There's a strike to Pagan 3-1. We even have mountain lions.
Really?
Yeah, you want to steer clear of those. And a big hawk land in our backyard once.
I had out in a big red tail.
Double play ball to short. Guzman to Orr and on to first, and not in time to get Pagan. So Angel keeps on hustling and beats out the relay to keep the inning alive.
Well, we know Angel swings a good bat. Guzman probably said the underhand shuffle could have given him an overhand toss, a quicker toss with the speedy Pagan. He could fly.
Tim Redding went in hard at second base, forced Pete Orr to back off a little bit. Might have affected the play. So 2 out, Pagan at first, Castillo the batter. Castillo has a home run in his career against John Lannon. Virtually all of Louis' home runs come as a right-hand batter.
Yeah, if Pagan can get a jump here with 2 outs, try to steal a bag.
Angel has 13 steals this year. He's going, but Lannon picks him off, and Dunn's throw in time to get Pagan to end the inning. 1-3-6 on the caught stealing, so the Mets are done in the bottom of the third. Redding will go back to the mound for the fourth, working with a 1-0 lead. There's your Verizon Pitchers High Speed, brought to you by Verizon Fios. This is Fios. This is big. Tim Redding and John Ladden, each topping out at 92 so far this afternoon. Here's your chance to win 2 tickets to a game at Citi Field, presented by McDonald's and the new McCafe coffees made with fresh ground espresso. Call 1-866-414-2911. And if you're the 11th caller, you'll be loving it, just like these folks at Citi Field.
Love it, love it.
Second time through the batting order for Tim Redding. He's been perfect so far. 34 pitches, 9 up, 9 down, with a couple of strikeouts. Willie Harris leads off the 4th, flying to center his first trip, and drops down a beautiful bunt. They'll never throw him out. And Willie Harris has himself a bunt single for the first Nationals hit of the game.
And there goes another Met no-hitter.
Nearly 48 years and counting.
Unbelievable. 9 in a row. Wasn't there the game where Burdette had Lou Burdette with the Braves had the no-hitter and Jackie Robinson put down a drag bunt that broke up the no-hitter? I forget.
Well, I know that when Tom Seaver was working on his perfect game against the Cubs in 1969, Randy Hundley led off the 9th inning and tried to bunt his way on and was thrown out. That was the first out of the night. Guzman, looking to lay down a sacrifice, did offer at that ball, according to third base umpire Tim Timmons, and that's a strike.
Well, this kind of game, when you got a last place team and the 4th place team, the umpires, anything close, it's going to be swinging the bat.
David Wright stays in on the grass at 3rd, with Guzman having shown bunt. And he swings and grounds one. Castillo with the flip. Valdez in time for the double play. Boy, Wilson Valdez got rid of that ball in a hurry. 4-6-3 double play, 2 out.
Well, this is not tailor-made. Quick feed by Louis, and nice strong throw from Wilson. Very nicely done. You can do a little video on that. Little clinic.
It has been very impressive watching Wilson Valdez play shortstop. 31-year-old veteran who is he's kicked around a lot because he hasn't really hit in the major league at the major league level, but you can see why he keeps getting chances. And who knows whether he might be able to stick next year as a backup infielder. Ryan Zimmerman takes the ball.
Well, I think it's important because if you look, really, Alex Cora did a really journeyman's job at shortstop with the injured Jose Reyes. But Alex is really a second baseman by trade, and I think the Mets need to have, particularly with Reyes, you don't know how he's going to come back with that hamstring, the tendon.
Zimmerman gets under one deep to left, but Tatis with room on the warning track to reel it in. Side retired. So Redding still faced the minimum over the first 4 innings despite the Harris bunt single, and the Mets still lead at 1-0. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. John Lannon's thrown just 25 pitches in the first 3 innings. But the Mets got a run against him in the second, a double by Francoeur, a run-scoring hit for Daniel Murphy, and the Mets lead 1-0. Luis Castillo grounded to short his first time up. He was at the plate when Pagan was caught stealing to end the third. It'll be Castillo right and Francoeur for the Mets in the home fourth.
And both corner infielders in. Potential drag bunt from Luis.
Lannon throws strikes, and the Mets have been in swinging mode today. Slow ground ball for Guzman, who circles in, 1 away. We mentioned that Lannon had not given up an earned run in either of his last 2 starts against the Mets. They finally got one against him today. The last time that a pitcher had 2 complete game wins against the Mets in the same season without allowing any earned runs, you got to go all the way back to 1992. When Bruce Hurst, pitching for the Padres that year, threw 3 shutouts against the Mets, and Ken Hill, who was with the Expos, had 2. And now Lannon, 17 years later, the next to do it. Of course, complete games are so rare in the game these days. Unless your boy Halladay.
That same Bruce Hurst, when he was a Boston Red Sox, almost won 3 games in a World Series against the New York Metropolitans.
Well, if he'd been able to throw a shutout in Game 7, things would be very different.
It would have been a rarity. That was back in the day. It was your ace through 3 in a 7-game World Series. You know, Whitey Ford always threw 3, and Gibson, Lomberg threw 3 in '67.
Well, Lomberg, remember, didn't pitch Game 1 in '67 because of the way the schedule worked out. Jose Santiago did, as Wright draws a walk. And so Lomberg pitched 2 and 5 and then came back on short rest in Game 7, and the Cardinals beat him up.
And the big stunner in '68 when the Tigers beat Bob Gibson-led Cardinals, Lolich was the star of that series, and he won 3 ball games. And he beat Gibson in Game 7. The famous Curt Flood misjudged the line drive off the bat. I think it was Jim Northrup, wasn't it?
Jim Northrup, exactly. Francoeur out to right center this time, and Desmond, his first chance, handles it easily for the second out.
For all you kids that don't know about Curt Flood was the perennial Gold Glove center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. Played a very shallow center field, and he got a bad break on the ball, misjudged it, went over his head. They lost the World Series. That was also a series where Lou Brock did not slide home on a close play at the plate and was called out.
Here's Fernando Tatis with 2 out and a runner at first. And Wright takes off, got a big jump, and Barnes' throw is too late, and Wright has a stolen base, his 26th of the year.
Well, he just took off when Lannon broke from the belt, and then even better, got an off-speed breaking ball, and no one was going to throw him out. No one.
So a runner in scoring position for Tatis, and he breaks his bat and flares one that Adam Dunn corrals to end the inning. 4 in the books at Citi Field. Mets up 1-0. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. Now Hyundai Assurance can even lower your price at the pump. Go to Hyundai.com to find out how. Well, congratulations to Sally from Hop Hog. You're the winner in the McCafe ticket contest. You'll be loving it, Sally, here at Citi Field. Just like we are.
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
Fifth inning, Adam Dunn leads off against Tim Redding, who's working with a 1-0 lead. And a big cut by Dunn, who struck out his first time up. This game is moving with such alacrity.
Well, this is what happens when you got two pitchers throwing strikes and working quick. And look at the big shift on Dunn out there in the infield. Huge shift, the big triangle. Luis in shallow right field.
You know, the fact that this game is going quickly, as you look at the defense, this is very beneficial to some of us.
Why?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but at 6 o'clock this evening at Jack Coffey Field in the Bronx, as Dunn lifts one to center field, and Pagan again shading the eyes with that glove, and puts it away for the first out. The annual renewal on the gridiron between Columbia and Fordham.
Is that a biggie?
Well, it's a biggie for myself and Chris Majkowski, the radio engineer on our Mets broadcast on WFAN, who, you know, Madge is a big Fordham guy, and of course I'm a Columbia guy, and we've had a long-standing accommodation that the loser of the Columbia Fordham game has to sing the other's fight song on the air.
Who's favored?
I don't know. I don't think they have.
Is there a line on that
Columbia Fordham game? Anyway, I've done a little more singing than Madge has the last few years, but I think this is the year the light blue can get him. Anyway, Madge is also, I don't know if you know this, but he is the public address announcer for the Fordham football games at Jack Coffey Field. So if this game gets over with quickly, he can get to his next assignment on time.
I did not know that.
6 o'clock. Be there. 1-1 to Josh Willingham. By the way, what time's that Nebraska-Virginia Tech game today?
Oh, don't think you're so clever, Mr. Cohen. Nicely done.
There's Madge hiding in the shadows.
I can just see his arm.
He's back there somewhere. I see the eyes peeking over the board there. He works so hard, or at least pretends to.
Everything's in slow motion with Madge. There he is. Yes.
See if you can telestrate him there.
He's right here.
There you go. Very nice. He has no idea why he's on the air.
That's Howie's hand on the right and Wayne's hand on the left. He's behind them. Kind of up in the crow's nest there.
2-2 to Willingham, who hit a broken bat grounder that Castillo threw him out on. Hagen, Ed Coleman.
Where is Howie? It's Ed on today. Ed's been under the weather lately, folks. He's got bad sinus. Ed has got sinus like I used to have, and I know how he feels. He was just really in a bad way on the last road trip. You wouldn't know it, that golden voice of Ed's. He's able to somehow get it done.
Friendliest man on radio. 3-2, and Willingham fouls it off.
So this is a nice at bat for Josh. A new good battle here. Redding and Willingham. Oh, got a hanger there.
Well, Redding's pitched some of his best baseball against the Nationals this year, team for whom he plied his trade last year. And Willingham pops this one up into shallow center, and another chance for Pagan. Battling that sun all afternoon and winning the battle so far. 2 out.
Well, one thing I've noticed about Redding as he's turned his season around, you can see Angel with the shades on. There you go. That's how it's done. Use that glove. Beautiful. Redding's throwing more fastballs. He's shown much more confidence lately in his fastball, and which sets up everything else for him.
Pete Orr takes a strike. Orr popped up his first time up. Former Atlanta Brave, called up in late August by the Nationals. was with the Braves or was able to wear number 4, which is only fitting that a guy named Orr should wear number 4.
Yes.
And of course, Pete, while not related to Bobby Orr, is a Canadian and very proud of his namesake.
Well, I'm sure he's a hockey fan, being from Canada.
Ripped foul. And as much as I love Wayne Gretzky, to me, Bobby Orr is the greatest hockey player who ever lived.
I never really followed hockey that much. We didn't have any. It only snowed twice in my lifetime in the Bay Area growing up as a kid.
Well, you don't need snow to play hockey.
Well, it just wasn't. You couldn't skate. My point, you know, we played football, basketball, baseball. My brother and I, most of the kids back then, like everybody.
Now, Mustache is wearing number 4. Third base coach for the Nats. Maybe he's a big hockey fan. Down the left field side, let it go out of play.
I remember I went to my first hockey game when Finley brought the Oakland
California Golden Seals.
And remember their uniforms? They were baby blue. They matched the blue line. It was like they were like camouflaged out there. They were white. They're home whites and their blues. It was like they blended right into the rink. And that's right. They had the white skates.
I remember a game. Joe Melush was the goalie for the California Golden Seals, and the Rangers beat him like 12-1. And Melush went off. They took him out after the second period in tears. That's how bad the Seals were.
They played over in the complex by the Oakland Coliseum where the Raiders played and the A's. I can't remember the name of the arena.
I think they called it the Coliseum Arena.
I remember when they were the San Francisco Warriors, when Will Chamberlain was the center. They played at old Civic Center downtown.
Curveball dribbled. And Redding with the easy play. Side retired. Well, Tim Redding keeps on rolling. He's allowed just one bunt single over the first 5. Halfway through, 1-0 Mets. The season may be winding down, but there's plenty of Mets baseball left to catch here on Picks. Next Sunday, join us as the Mets swing down to Florida for a battle with the Marlins. The Mets take on the Marlins next Sunday at 1 on Picks. Well, those folks have been to the concession stands out there in center field. Blue Smoke, Shake Shack.
With a Darling shirt there.
La Verana.
Did you see that? It was a Darling jersey, a Darling sighting. There. Number 12, not number 44.
One of Ronnie's many fans. Daniel Murphy's driven in the only run of this game. Not to be forgotten.
Oh, look at those uniforms. Never liked that stripe over the shoulder. Did you?
No. No, you guys had the misfortune to play in the worst uniforms in Mets history, I'm afraid.
But we played in it quite nicely.
Yes, you did. Left it to left by Murphy, and Willingham is under it.
That's where you got to pitch Murph, and Murph, as he gets more experience, is going to, I would hope, he's very studious, studies hitting. That's a pitch that he has to lay off of. Just get the sights down, make them get the ball, make that pitcher get the ball down. This is not where Murph likes it. It happens.
I think you just coined a word, and I think it's a good new word.
What?
Astudious. It combines astute and studious. I think that's a great new word. I think you want to put in a trademark on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It almost sounds Spanish, doesn't it?
Studious. Wilson Valdez grounded into a double play his first time up. That's 3 hits off John Lannon, and he pushes a bunt, but right back to Lannon. And the 1-3 put out for the second out. A lot of people trying to bunt their way on today.
Yes. Well, I guarantee you one thing: if you're a visiting team, folks, and you're playing the season out, like these two teams are, and you're in New York, you kidding? Day game, you got your reservations made. You can probably get a groupie all together, go out and have dinner together after the game.
Yeah, but you can go out at 8 just as well as you can go out at 6.
I know, but you can also
city never sleeps, you know.
Get back in town for that little cocktail hour.
Josh Thole takes the strike. Last night, for the first time, we saw Josh Thole get overmatched a little bit.
Yes.
When he faced Mike McDougal in the 8th inning.
You know, it was the real sign. I spotted it too late to bring it up in the broadcast last night. Was that one at bat when he got up with the men on base? Was it the bases loaded? Or?
Yeah, it was only a bat last night.
He choked up 4 inches, and McDougal threw it by him. Actually, I'd like to see him not be so spread out. Kind of get the feet closer together.
And Lannon throws the fastball by him, so Thole down on strikes. Lannon has his second of the day. 5 in the books now here at Citi Field, and the Mets working with a 1-0 lead. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Audi and your local tri-state area Audi dealers. Visit tristateareaautidealers.com.
Well, here we are in the 6th inning already. Why? Errorless game. 4 hits only.
And lots of strikes.
And no walk, 1 walk. So this is good old-fashioned where we like it.
There have only been 105 pitches thrown in the first 5 innings of this game by the 2 pitchers combined. Ian Desmond leading off in the 6th. Desmond fly to center his first time up. Desmond made his major league debut 9 days ago. As he strokes one to shortstop, right at Valdez for the first out. Desmond, in his first 4 big league games, had 10 hits. The last time that a major leaguer had 10 hits in his first 4 games, Jim Davenport for the 1958 San Francisco Giants.
Jim Davenport, third baseman for those Giants. Great glove. All those great years with Mays, Cepeda, McCovey, Felipe Alou.
Well, Davenport always had to struggle for playing time because the Giants had Jim Ray Hart playing third base.
He was there before Hart. When Hart came on, that's when Davenport's playing time diminished. And Jose Pagan. Willie Kirkland was in the outfield. Jack Sanford in the starting rotation.
Who was the second baseman on that team?
Chuck Hiller.
Who, of course, later would play for the Mets and coach for the Mets.
They started out when McCovey came up. McCovey in left, Cepeda in at first. And Cepeda was a very accomplished first baseman. And then they moved McCovey, because he would stretch his knees, they moved McCovey to first base and Cepeda out in right field. And
they traded Cepeda.
And they traded Cepeda in '67 to the Cardinals, and he was MVP.
Bart just gets a piece of it to stay alive, and then the Cardinals traded Cepeda to the Braves, and he wound up on that '69 Braves team that played the Mets in the National League Championship Series. It was quite a lineup with Rico Carty and Hank Aaron and Cepeda.
And Cepeda inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was a great Giants offense over the years.
1-2 to Bart. On the inside corner, strike 3 call. Boy, Redding is sharp this afternoon. That's his 3rd strikeout.
I hope we're not boring the younger generation here. Look at that fastball. Up and in. Beautiful pitch with 2 strikes.
I believe that the folks who are watching, young and old, are being educated by your references.
And yours too.
Here's John Lannon, who struck out his first time up.
Usually I forget all this stuff.
Well, you mentioned Chuck Hiller, and that brought up a thought. Didn't Chuck Hiller hit a grand slam in the '62 series for the Giants?
I believe he did.
And I think he was the first player to hit a grand slam in the World Series.
I believe you're right.
Isn't that right?
And Chuck was our third base coach with the '82 Cardinals. Chuck was very, very, very good friends with Whitey Herzog. When Whitey took over the team, Whitey brought Chuck over to be the third base coach.
And Chuck was a coach in the Mets organization, a longtime instructor, really terrific instructor. And, a lot of people raved about the work he did in the minor leagues. I think he worked with Jose Reyes when Reyes was in the Mets minor league system.
Well, our first and second base coaches were giant middle infielders. Hal Lanier was our first base coach with the '82 Cardinals, and Chuck Hiller, our third base coach.
1-2 to Lannon. Foul back.
Of course, Hal Lanier went on to manage the Astros, which we knocked off in the '86 World Series. In 6, a very hard-fought 6. We could have lost that series very easily. Nolan Ryan,
Mike Scott,
Joe Niekro.
Lannon takes the curveball and misses 2-2. But the one guy that you guys were able to hit in that series was Dave Smith.
Dave Smith could not get us out. That year, I remember the statistic. Dave Smith against the National League, who was their closer, had an ERA in the 2s for every team against the Mets over 5. We crushed him.
And of course, he gave up the home run to Lenny in that 3rd game that won it at Shea.
And the game 6 also split the bid up too. Darrell hit the home run upper 3rd tank in the dome, just foul, and I think it just completely rattled Dave Smith. We couldn't get anybody out after that.
3-2 now to Lannon, who's battling hard here. He's had one of the better at bats for the Nationals today. Lannon, who grew up on Long Island but grew up a Yankee fan. has never won against the Mets in New York. He's beaten them 3 times in Washington. And it's too high, ball 4, and Landen's on with a walk. The first of the afternoon given up by Redding, who's not happy with himself. Only the second base runner of the day for the Nats. Willie Harris had a bunt single in the 4th. He was erased in a double play, and now Landon on with a 2-out walk. And Harris will come to bat for the 3rd time. Flied out and had that bunt single. Mets scored the only run of this game in the 2nd inning, and it's been Landon and Redding matching zeros since. Redding has thrown a first pitch strike to 13 of his first 18 hitters. See whether Harris is swinging early. And he pops the first one up to Valdez. So Tim Redding having himself a marvelous afternoon. He's allowed just 1 hit through 6. And the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Starting this Monday on Fox. Join host Jeff Foxworthy for all the laughs and excitement of one of the hottest game shows around. Now classes in session 5 times a week right here on Pix. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Every weeknight at 5 starting Monday on Pix. Well, a future 5th grader. That's another one. We're probably not as smart as them either.
Little redhead.
Former 5th graders.
These two have kind of become chums, haven't they? Wright and Francoeur. It's a good thing.
Well, Jeff Francoeur has added a lot of life to the Mets clubhouse and to their team on the field as well. Tim Redding leading off in the home 6th as one of the Mets' 3 hits today. Single to center in the 3rd. And Lannon gets ahead of him 0-2. John Lannon got through the first 5 innings throwing 45 pitches.
Excellent.
Maddox-esque. And the curveball lifted to shallow center, and Harris is playing shallow. 1 away. 6 in a row retired by Lannon. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, you talked about this a little bit on yesterday's broadcast about Ryan Zimmerman and his defense and his potential for a Gold Glove to wrestle it away from his buddy David Wright. And, you know, we see him 19 times a year. I talked to Pat Listach, the Nationals coach, of course, former infielder, knows a thing or two up using his glove. And I said, for a guy that sees him every day, tell me what you see. He said, well, look, I mean, his range is second to none. And when you watch him every day, give you an example, when Ian Desmond was called up and he was playing short, first thing I told him, I said, listen, get used to it. Zimmerman will cut in front of you and take half of your balls. It's going to happen, so you have to get used to that. He said his range is incredible. He makes all these plays look routine, and I'm just so impressed by him. And then I asked him about the total package. He said, if he was on a different team, I would consider him for an MVP candidate. But how about this, guys? The comparisons, when you combine the fielding, the hitting, his clubhouse presence, how he leads at a young age. He threw out Paul Molitor and Ryan Sandberg. Those are two pretty good names comparing Ryan Zimmerman to Pat Listash, guys.
Well, absolutely. Good company. And looks like he's going to win himself a Gold Glove this year, I would think, huh, Gary?
I think that it's a pretty good bet that he's going to unseat David and win it this year. He has had a spectacular year in every respect. And a chance for Zimmerman on cue for the second out. Throws out Pagan. You know, it's interesting because you look at the careers of Ryan Zimmerman and David Wright. They were friends growing up and played AAU ball together. And David's been up a little bit longer, but David has come up in the spotlight playing in New York, while Zimmerman has been able to be nurtured those last few years in the shadows in Washington. And I wonder how that has impacted the two of them and their development, and whether it's appreciably harder to be David Wright as opposed to being Ryan Zimmerman in terms of, you know, spending your first few years and getting your feet wet in the major league. Castillo pops one up. And the right fielder Desmond looking like he's played out there all his life. 1-2-3 inning for Lannon. 6 in the books at Citi Field. 1-0 Mets. Here's your BP line score brought to you by BP Gasoline. Try BP Gasoline with Invigorate. It's been an invigorating afternoon. Flowed right along for 6 innings. Mets and Nats. Tim Redding and John Lannon. There's that ugly Mets road uniform that you wore.
I preferred that uniform over our home, but I hated the handwriting of New York across it. It was awful. I told Charlie, Clubby, I said, what can we do? And Charlie said, can't do it.
Brought back the block letters a few years later, and they've been back ever since.
I always thought the Mets road uniform was one of the prettier road uniforms going.
Still is.
Yeah, and I don't know why they changed it.
Well, it was the 80s. You know, they changed the Let's Go Mets.
They did.
Well, Meet the Mets, right? They came up with Let's Go Mets Go, and you know, the different version of Meet the Mets. And it was the 80s. It was go time. 1 and 2 to Christian Guzman.
Speaking of tomorrow, we'll have Mel Torme's New York song tomorrow. It'll be Sunday. They always play it on Sunday.
New York on Sunday.
Yes, I love that song. I think it's my favorite song about New York.
There's that beautiful Mets road uniform with the block letters.
I wasn't looking at the monitor.
Sorry.
I've been yapping away today.
It's been very entertaining listening to you.
Very seldom do I go off on tangents. You know that.
Well, here's what I figure. It was a late arrival from Atlanta after the game on Thursday night. Night game last night, day game today. So that means you've had extra caffeine.
Yes.
Little dribbler, and there's no way they're going to throw out Guzman. So the second hit against Reading lands in much the same spot that the first one did. A bunt by Harris, and now a swinging bunt by Guzman.
Well, this one unintentional. You couldn't have bunted it better. You couldn't have rolled it out of your hand better. I mean, that is just nothing you can do. And more importantly, I'll focus on the game for a change. And a leadoff runner on first.
Tying run aboard, and Guzman has some speed, not nearly as much as he used to. Now Zimmerman, who fly deep to left his last time up, 0 for 2 on the day. Guzman with just 4 steals this year, and he's running, and Zimmerman on the hit and run hits it back to Reading, whose only plays at first. If he'd gotten it cleanly the first time, he might have had a shot at Guzman, but once he bobbled it, that chance was gone.
Well, I tell you, I know you're taking a chance, trying to make something happen, but you got your number 3 hitter up here, power hitter, and you're going to make him hit and run. I just don't agree with the call.
Well, it serves to get the tying run to second base with 1 out, and a chance for Adam Dunn. Zimmerman and Riggleman talk over that hit and run call.
You can see, hopefully you can get it, maybe a 2-1 count. Okay. 3-1 count, you can just send the runner loose.
And that one squirts by Tolley and goes to the backstop, and that moves the tying run to third. Right through the 5-hole on Josh. And that's one he'd love to have back.
We'll see how they'll play the infield here. Probably roll the pass ball. Let's see. Yeah, he just boxed it.
Sometimes that ball will hit the umpire's foot and save you, but not that time.
Infield in by the Metropolitans.
It is a pass ball on Tolley. 1-0 the count to Dunn with Willingham on deck. And the curveball swung and missed. 1-1.
Boy, Dunn is really trying to lift. He needs 3 home runs for 40, as Gary mentioned earlier. What, 6 years in a row with 40 home runs or more.
Tough spot for Reading here against Dunn, but he's done well against Dunn over the years. 3 for 16.
Did A-Rod hit 40 6 years in a row? Dave, get on that computer and check it out. Don't give me that befuddled look. Get on the computer.
Dunn lines a base hit, and that'll tie up the ball game. Guzman trots in to score, and the Nats get even at 1-1.
Well, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. That run would have scored on that base hit.
And that's 100 RBIs for Adam Dunn.
Well, the big guy shortens up his swing to tie the ball game.
Dunn had exactly 100 RBIs last year. It's the 5th time in his career now that he's reached 100 RBIs. Josh Willingham, the batter, with Dunn at first. He's running, and Willingham fouls it off. So again, Riggleman put on a hit and run.
How about that?
And again on the first pitch.
Very aggressive. 1960s. You see Dunn looking back.
Not a base stealer, does not have a stolen base this year.
That's all the 60 Dodgers did. Sacrifice and guys over and hit and run. Back in the days of Koufax and Drysdale.
Maury Wills stealing bases. 1-1 to Willingham.
Walter Alston managed. Cannot tell you how many times I watched the Dodgers on TV against the Giants where Wills got on base, stole second, Junior Gilliam would bunt him over, and Willie Davis would get a sacrifice fly.
Well, that's the way they had to play, particularly the year that Tommy Davis got hurt. Remember, Davis broke his ankle in '65. They picked up Lou Johnson, sweetened it a little bit.
Tommy Davis was one of the great hitters. Right-hand hitter, right-hand number 3 hitter for the Dodgers. He was an MVP.
He had 1 year as a Met, Tommy Davis, 1967. He had 300 that year. Pulled foul, and it's 2-2 to Willingham. Coming up, don't miss a sneak peek at Sony Pictures' new movie Zombieland. in theaters October 2nd.
So I was correct about A-Rod. 1998 through 03, 6 straight seasons of 40 home runs.
Redding about to throw his 90th pitch. 2-2 to the dangerous Josh Willingham. And he takes it high, 3-2.
Good discipline right there by Willingham. You saw Tolley set up for the high fastball out of the strike zone, but the fish didn't bite.
At least the former fish. Willingham.
Yes. Very close.
Dunn runs, and it's popped up in foul ground. Murphy near the dugout. Oh, can't reach in far enough. Arms needed to be about a foot longer.
Glove is Daniel using there. Make. See, he's got the checkerboard square webbing. I never liked that kind of webbing.
Use the solid webbing.
You know, I forget. It's been so long.
Again, Dunn runs, and the 3-2 is outside and low as he threw the 3-2 curveball to Willingham, and so Redding issues his second walk, and that pushes the lead run to second base. So now Redding has been able to avoid trouble all afternoon, has given up a run here in the 7th, and the Nats have 2 men on for Pete Orr. Redding has certainly pitched wonderfully since returning to the rotation. It's his 6th start since he regained that spot with the release of Livan Hernandez, and he's pitched a winning game here today. But now he's got a couple of big outs to get in the 7th inning. Orr has popped a second and bounced one back to Redding. Redding looking to get a ground ball here. And Orr attacks the first pitch fastball and fouls it off.
Both teams with 3 hits. No errors this ball game. Both teams have left 1 man on base.
And Redding gets ahead on Orr 0-2. Tim Redding, who grew up in upstate New York, up in the Rochester area.
Good slider right here. Back door. Got that winter goatee going.
Well, what did you call it last night? The hunting beard?
Yes.
0-2. Hit at the knees, a call, 3rd strike. Orr down looking. 2 out. 4th strikeout for Tim Redding.
Well, there it is, the backdoor slider again. Went back to back with it. And the red hot Desmond.
So Pete Orr caught looking for the 2nd out. Now Desmond, who's flied to center and bounced to short, 0-2. 2 out and 2 on. In an up and down year, these have been spots where Redding has excelled. In situations with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this year, the opposition is hitting .171 against Tim Redding. And he's got a big out to get here. And Desmond pops it up. David Wright flips the glasses down. And he makes the grab. It's done. Barely avoided trampling him from behind. Nats tie it 1-1. 7th inning, and this tour of Citi Field is brought to you by Audi. Visit tri-state area Audi dealers.com. Fans up and stretching with the Mets and Nats all tied up as you look at the Acela Club down the left field line and that beautiful bridge out in right center. Mets will try and untie it in the bottom of the 7th with the heart of the order against John Lannon. David Wright to lead off. Well, David survived a herd of buffalo running up his back to end that last inning. And David lines one to right. Desmond gets confused. Goes all the way to the Mo zone. Right into second base with a double. Well, we told you today that Ian Desmond was playing his first game in the outfield at any level, and it caught up with him on this ball.
Well, he had his glasses on. Earlier in the game, he did not. David hits a rocket here, and he just got a late break. Funny how that ball will find you.
Well, on a sunny day in this cavernous outfield, it is a difficult spot to be playing your first ever game in the outfield, and Ian Desmond just found out, as did Jim Riggleman, who put him out there. So now the go-ahead run at second with nobody out, and Jeff Francoeur steps in. Jeff doubled and scored the only Met run today, and Lannon works him inside for ball one. Francoeur has been red hot with the bat, and he has killed lefties all year, hitting .336 against lefties.
And you see Lannon trying to pitch him inside, up and in and missed. Might be a good time to throw a changeup here.
Well, Lannon's trying to find some formula that works against Francoeur. With his double today, Francoeur is now 9 for 18 against Lannon, including a home run. 2-1. Jeff takes low and away. And now Lannon behind 3-1 with Fernando Tatis on deck. Well, Lannon's pitch count is extraordinarily low today. He's thrown only 60 pitches with nobody out in the 7th inning. But he's in a tight spot here. 3-2 now to Francoeur.
I like Lannon. I tell you, he doesn't throw 94, 95, let alone even 93 too. But he's not afraid to throw his fastball. He locates it well on both sides of the plate and pitches inside. Going back in.
Line down the left field line. That'll settle into the corner for an extra base hit. Wright comes in with the lead run. Francoeur with his second double of the day, and the Mets lead 2-1. 30th double of the season for Francoeur as he drives in his 69th run.
Well, tried to come in again, and Jeff is just grooving. He got it in. He just turned on it. So nice pickup by the Mets. Not only got a bat that's been so productive, but a good glove and a strong arm.
Fernando Tatis takes ball one. Well, in a year of very few bright spots, the trade for Jeff Francoeur and the way he has performed on and off the field has been a very, very bright spot. Tatis takes a strike, 1-1. Fernando had a sacrifice in the 2nd inning and then hit a little flare in foul territory that Dunn caught in the 4th.
Dunn playing in at first base. I don't think Tatis is going to be putting down another bunt.
Well, he did in a similar spot in the 2nd.
Sure did.
Goes the other way. Desmond moving over, and he catches the line drive. Francoeur alertly tags at 2nd. He'll go to 3rd. So it's a productive out for Tatis. And now Francoeur at 3rd with 1 out.
Well, your basic fundies. It sets it up for Murph. Tatis trying to go that way, and Desmond makes this play.
You can tell Desmond's a good athlete.
Yes.
Because he's not experienced out there.
Well, the ball hit right at you is the one that's going to fool you. And that's the one that fooled him. Wright's leadoff double in this inning.
So the infield in for Murphy, as it was in the 2nd when he singled in a run. And the curveball from Lennon misses ball one. Murphy 1 for 2, singled in Frank Core in the second, his 57th run batted in, and flied out in the 5th. And he grounds this one down to Dunn, who boots it. It goes right on by. Frank Core comes in to score. Murphy heads for second, and he's in standing, and the Mets lead 3-1. Well, Adam Dunn, not renowned for his glove in left field or at first base, and this one went right on by him.
Well, he's playing kind of in between here, and I'm sure it's going to be ruled in error. And Frank Core didn't break home. And you said it, Garrett. Dunn doesn't move well. The more athletic first baseman gets his body in front of that ball. Well, Frank Core did break, so he would have scored anyway, I believe.
They are going to give an RBI to Murphy, an error all the way on Dunn. Steve McCatty heads out to the mound to talk to Lannon. So Murphy has his second RBI of the day, his 58th of the year. And the Mets catch a break on the 127th error for the Nationals this year, the most in the National League.
Nice scoring right there by Howie Carpin.
I'm not sure Murphy feels that way. He'd probably prefer a hit.
Well, he'll take the ribeye steak. There'll be some scorekeepers in our day that wouldn't have given him an RBI.
It has to be an RBI.
Well, you can't assume he would have scored, can you?
If the runner breaks with him backing off on that ball the way he did, I think you have to give an RBI. Valdez hits one toward the middle or on the backhand. Makes the play for the second out as Murphy moves over to third.
I think it's the correct score.
Oh,
I think that it should be an RBI.
I totally agree with you. I think it should be too.
I just don't understand with a runner on third, Dunn playing kind of in between. You got to come in, play on the fringe of the grass, on the cut.
So now Josh Thole with a runner at third and 2 out. Thole is 0 for 2 today. For the most part, Jerry has kept Thole away from left-handers, but given him a start against a good left-hander today. Mets are without Omir Santos, who was away from the team. His grandmother passed away, and Omir went down to Puerto Rico to attend the funeral. He should be back tomorrow. So the Mets don't have a right-handed catcher today. That's why Thole got the start. Tim Redding's going to stay on. He's on deck. 0-2 to Thole is low and away.
Nice block.
Blocks that one to keep Murphy at third.
Bard does a nice job back there behind the plate. We haven't seen a lot of him so far this year, but in this series so far, he moves well back there. Nice block. That's how it's done.
Well, Bard has played a whole lot more than expected for the Nats this year with the season-long injury to Jesus Flores. Will Nieves is down with a hamstring right now, so Bard is really the only catcher. They brought in Jamie Burke. They purchased him from Seattle just the other day to give them a backup. He's here. 3-2 now to Thole. Jason Bergman on your right. Ron Vallone on your left. And the Washington bullpen.
They're going to have to pinch hit for Lannon.
Thole down swinging to end the inning. Third strikeout for Lannon, but the Mets grab the lead in the bottom of the 7th. Back-to-back doubles for David Wright and Jeff Francoeur. An error brings in the 6th run, and the Mets lead 3-1 as we go to the 8th at Citi Field.
Reading.
Your out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Lexus. Only one other game going on right now in Pittsburgh. Kind of a meaningless affair.
No, that's a biggie.
Yeah. Cubs and Cardinals. The Cardinals magic number 6 for clinching the Central. Giants beat the Dodgers last night, and the Rockies lost, so the Giants just 2.5 behind Colorado for the wild card, and the Rockies 5 back of the Dodgers for the West Division. And the Rockies will have Jason Hamill going against Max Scherzer in Arizona tonight. Marlins still alive in the wild card, 4 games back. Atlanta 4.5.
What a beautiful crowd.
Every day.
Look at the upper tank. Wonderful.
Josh Bard leads off in the 8th and rips one down the right field line. A fair ball into the corner. Frank Core goes over to dig it out, and Bard into second base with a leadoff double. So after the Mets grab the lead for Tim Redding in the bottom of the 7th, he gives up a bolt down the line to Bard, and all of a sudden the Nats get the tying run to play here in the 8th.
Well, I think Jerry is waiting for the announcement and going to make a pitching change. Look, there he goes. He looked a little antsy.
Mike Morris has been announced into the game as the pinch hitter, a right-hand batter, and so Jerry's going to pull Redding after 98 pitches and 7 innings plus. An outstanding outing for Tim Redding. And he will exit, and Sean Green will come on. The call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale. Sean Green, who's been pitching much better of late since dropping his arm angle, will come on in relief of Tim Redding here in the 8th.
He's getting into more games lately with the game on the line, kind of in that bridge position to Frankie out for the 9th inning.
Green got 2 outs yesterday.
You see, got his ERA below 5.
Mike Morris, the pinch hitter, and he takes ball 1. Morris, who pinch hit in the game last night, had a dribbler and was thrown out. Mike Morris, who was born in Jamaica, who, when he made his major league debut in 2005, was the first native of Jamaica to play in the major leagues. First drafted by the White Sox, and came to the big leagues with the Mariners as a shortstop, a big shortstop. almost swung out of the socks. 1-2.
This is where Sean Green needs to put this sinker all day long. Tough to lay off. And I think the follow swing hit his helmet. Yep.
Oh, you don't want to whack yourself in the head. That's not really necessary.
I mean, you swing and miss. Don't be so tough. Don't be so hard on yourself.
1-2 to Morse. Mowing in with the sinker. 2-2. Willie Harris, left-hand hitter, waiting on deck. Tim Redding going 7 innings plus. He has had a terrific day. And his string of good starts just continues. And hoping that the bullpen can get him a win. On the outside corner, strike 3 call. Morris down looking, 1 away.
Well, I tell you what, that was textbook right there from Green. All the hard sinkers in, and what does he do here? He runs the hard sinker away, and that just locked up the Jamaican. Go sit down.
Going to get a pinch runner now for the Nationals. Not quite certain why, but Josh Bard is coming out, and Jorge Padilla will run for Bard at second base. Now, if he's not the tying run, why would you make that move there? Didn't look like there was any injury problem with Bard. In any event, Padilla is running, and Harris is the hitter. Willie Harris 1 for 3, swings and misses at the sinker, 0-1. Harris had a bunt single in the 4th inning, which was, for the first 6 innings, the only hit against Tim Redding.
And you were talking earlier here that they were a little short on their catching.
Well, they've got Jamie Burke, the 37-year-old journeyman, whom they picked up the other day from Seattle, and that's their only other catcher, unless Will Nieves is ready to catch, which I don't think he is. Harris fouls one off his leg, and it's 0-2. Nieves hurt a hamstring on Thursday and was not supposed to play at all this weekend. Brian Stokes up in the Mets bullpen. You can be certain if the Mets hold the lead into the 9th that Frankie Rodriguez will get another call. Frankie had a save opportunity to get away in Atlanta the other night when Daniel Murphy had that rough 9th inning. Mets trying to snap a 6-game losing streak, leading 3-1 in the 8th. 1-2 to Harris. We have the switch hitting Christian Guzman on deck. Nice stop by Tolley. 2-2.
You can see the shadows now on the fielders. That the sun is kind of shifted, and it is a tough sun field for the right fielder now.
Well, the way this ballpark is configured, it's turned a little bit further toward the northwest than Shea Stadium was.
Counterclockwise?
Yeah, a little bit counterclockwise, and that's why that sun sets behind third, and thus the sun is right in the eyes of the right fielder. Two-two. Bounce to the right side for Murphy. He can handle it himself. Over to third goes Padilla, but now there are 2 out. So Sean Green has come on and gotten the first 2 to face him, as he did last night. Now Guzman, who had an infield single and scored the only Nationals run in the 7th.
And Sean looking to extend that scoreless string he's got going.
What's he at now? Four innings. Guzman takes low and away, ball 1. Well, it's been a roller coaster year for Sean Green after coming over in the trade with Seattle. And they may be talking about the possibility that Guzman might try and bunt here. With 2 out and a runner at third.
I'll tell you what. He pushes one past Green. Louis out there on that outfield grass. Luis, I should say, much nicer. I don't think he'll be bunting.
If you've got a guy who likes to bunt, more apt to do it with a sinker baller on the mound.
I think a sinker baller, when it's down, it's moot now. It's tougher to bunt.
And Green throws it away. Padilla in to score. Guzman brings the tying run to second base. So another swinging bunt. And Green's throw wide of Murphy brings in a run to make it 3-2.
Well, Sean, normally very sure and accurate with his throws. I can't recall him doing this all year. And that's just a bad throw. You're right. That's the end of the inning right there. And now the Nationals have a chance to tie this ball game again.
So the error on Green brings home a run.
That'll be an unearned run.
Now the tying run at second, and Ryan Zimmerman, who's gone 0 for 3 today. And Green, who has hit more than his share of batters, comes inside for ball one. Well, the same thing happened to Green yesterday. He retired the first 2 hitters and then was victimized by an error. That one by David Wright. This one, his own. And now he's behind on Zimmerman 2-0.
Man, he's got to face a guy with 30 home runs. That'll get Feliciano ready.
Yeah, if Zimmerman gets on, certainly they'll bring in Feliciano to face Adam Dunn, as they did last night. Feliciano threw 1 pitch and got Dunn out on a fly ball. And now it's 3-0 to Zimmerman, so it's looking like that might happen again. And, you know, this is the way the year has gone for Sean Green. For every good, there's been a bad. Things have been going very well for Sean lately, but his throwing error has opened the door, and now he's 3-0 on Zimmerman. There's a strike.
I would have given him a 3-0 hit sign.
That run is charged to Tim Redding. It's an unearned run. So Redding finishes 7 innings plus, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Still has a chance to be a winner if Green can shut the door here. There's a strike, and it's 3-2 to Zimmerman. Guzman the tying run at second with 2 out. The Nationals have just 4 hits today. The Mets have only 5. A very well pitched game. Redding and Lanham, the starters, both now out of the game. 3-2. Chopper slowly hit. Tough play for Wright. He has no chance. An infield hit for Zimmerman, and now the tying run is on third. Boy, how many soft infield hits have there been in this game?
Mostly on all on the Washington side.
So now, with Dunn coming up, Jerry Manuel will bring Pedro Feliciano into the game. This call to the bullpen brought to you by the 2009 Honda clearance sale, and for the second straight day, Feliciano's assignment will be Adam Dunn. Pedro Feliciano comes in to face Adam Dunn, protecting a 1-run lead in the 8th inning. 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And Dunn takes inside and almost hit him 1-0. Dunn drove in the first Washington run with a single to center in the 7th, his 100th run batted into the season. 5th time in his career he's reached 100. 7 for 15 lifetime against Feliciano. And the breaking ball in for a strike. 1-1. Feliciano making his 81st appearance of the year, chasing down his own Mets club record of 86 that he set last year. And Dunn takes the fastball off the knees for a strike. 1-2. Feliciano mixing it up nicely against Dunn.
Very difficult assignment for any left-hand hitter facing Pedro.
Tying run at 3rd and 2 down. 1-2. Hit to second. Castillo playing on the outfield grass. Side retired. Perpetual Pedro gets it done again as he faces down Adam Dunn. Middle of the 8th, 3-2 New York. Run the bases at Citi Field following the Mets afternoon game tomorrow against the Nationals with the Mr. Met Dash for all kids 12 and under, presented by Nestle Drumstick. For tickets, visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Line score brought to you by BP. Try BP gasoline with Invigorate. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Mets holding off the Nationals 3-2. Jorge Padilla stays in the game in right field. Ian Desmond moves from right field to shortstop, his natural position. Jamie Burke makes his Nationals debut behind the plate, and the former Yankee Tyler Clippard will take over on the mound. Corey Sullivan to pinch hit, and those are all the changes as we start the bottom of the 8th. Sullivan pinch hitting for Feliciano, who came in to get one big out. There's the former Yankee Clippard.
Very, very good. So I got to think Clippard will be in the 2-hole, right?
Yes, they'll hit second. Guzman came out, so the catcher Burke is batting 9th.
Right.
And there you see the numbers on Clippard, who's pitched very well for the Nats this year. And Sullivan down swinging as Clippard threw it by him. 3 pitches, and Corey's down, 1 away. The Nationals got Clippard from the Yankees in a straight-up deal for Jonathan Albaladejo during the offseason. Frankie Rodriguez getting ready for a save chance. They'll have Willingham, Orr, and Desmond due up in the 9th inning. Mets would love to get him some insurance. Angel Pagan takes a changeup for ball 1. Pagan is 0 for 3. Drag bunt attempt, and Pagan fouls it off. Check what we just told you. The pitcher will bat 9th for the Nationals, and the catcher Burke will hit him a 2-hole.
Sorry about it up.
Do you need any white out?
Yes.
One and one to Pagan, who's 1 for 7 in this series. And he swings and misses the fastball. 1-2. John Lennon went 7 innings, took him to 74 pitches to get there. He gave up 3 runs and 5 hits, walked 1, struck out 3. Mets led 1-0. Nationals tied in the 7th. The Mets regained the lead in the bottom of the 7th. And Pagan down swinging, so Clifford has faced 2 and struck them both out.
Well, he's got a good fastball. And that Albadejo that the Yankees got, he was a hard thrower too, but more wild. Where Clifford's more refined, good up and in fastball. That's where you want it. That's what Seaver did so well.
You just throw a Tom Seaver at Tyler Clifford?
Well, that's what Tom had, that high riser, up and in. He had it locked. It was.
That's like a headline in tomorrow's paper. Hernandez compares Clifford with Seaver.
Well, I'll get criticized.
No,
over the top. Totally brilliant.
Clifford will like it.
Well, of course he will. It's mainly location.
Castillo fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
When Tom Seaver threw you up and in, that got your attention. And it wasn't a brush bat. I mean, up and in for a strike. The thing was electric. Picture Tom's out there in the vineyard, checking out his grapes.
Castillo up the middle, base hit. So Louis got his first hit of the afternoon, the 6th hit for New York.
Well, want to come up and in again. Let's see where he gets it. Oh boy, did he miss. Belt high away, right where Louis likes it.
So a 2-out chance for David Wright, who doubled over the head of Ian Desmond in right field and scored the go-ahead run in the 7th. David's also walked and stolen a base today, 1 for 2. See if Castillo tries to swipe one here. Louis with 16 steals on the year. Mets are #1 in the National League in stolen bases with 114, despite Reyes not having played most of the season. Wright is in the top 10 in the league in steals with his 26th today. Castillo with 16, Pagan with 13.
How old's David now?
David is 26, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Any particular reason you brought that up?
I just forgot. I'm curious. I know he's young. And
oh, speaking of birthdays today.
Yes.
Today would have been Bob Murphy's birthday. Something that I remember very well because I would always sing happy birthday to Murph when we worked together.
Really?
2-1 now to Wright. I believe Murph would have been 85 had he lived. As Bob passed away in 2004, a year after retiring.
Murph,
Hall of Fame voice of the Mets. I had the privilege of working with Murph for 15 years.
I had the privilege of being around Bob and, you know, coming in on the road, and you always poke your head in a hotel bar and sat down and had a beer with Murph more than a few times before I went back up to my room.
Dunn gives it a look, but that'll be back in the crowd. 2-2. Murph was an optimistic voice in the worst of times.
Yes, he was.
He and Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner lived through many years like this, where the Mets were out of the race early, but they never lost their enthusiasm.
Well, they're professionals.
Another foul ball off the bat of right, and again it'll sail into the crowd.
Highly trained professionals. Like us? Like Murphy. Highly trained professionals. You know, folks, Murph was funny. Ed Lynch did a great imitation of Murph, and we kind of would imitate Murph. Murph would get mad. You know, he didn't like it. We were just teasing. He'd get real sensitive about it.
He was one of a kind, that's for sure. Long turn at bat here for David.
Nice at bat for David. Good to see the bat speed.
Castillo at first and 2 down. And Wright takes high and tight, 3-2. So that'll give Castillo an automatic start. Give him a better chance to score if David can hit one in the gap. Leopards 3-2, and it's low and away, and Wright's on with a walk. David's aboard for the 3rd time today, and the Mets have 2 men on for Frank Gore.
Nope. I don't know if you noticed, but inexplicably, Adam Dunn was holding on Luis Castillo 3-2 with 2 outs. You always play behind the runner.
So now Clippard will face Frank Gore, who's had another terrific day with the bat. 2 for 3, a pair of doubles. He's scored 2 runs and driven in 1. Jeff's up to 281 on the year. And he takes a rip, 0-1. Frank Gore now with 30 doubles for the season with his 2 today.
Do him a changeup here. It's 85 miles an hour, or else nothing fastball. I mean, he throws harder than that.
Mostly 90-91 with his fastball in this inning. Off the fist to foul ball, and it's 0-2 to Frank Gore. Tom and Clippard from Lexington, Kentucky.
Horse country.
Basketball country.
True.
Oh, 2. Hit to right field. Padilla drifting to the line. And that retires the side. We go to the 9th. Frankie Rodriguez with a save chance. Mets leading 3-2. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Jeep and your local Jeep dealers. By McDonald's new McCafe coffees made fresh with ground espresso now at McDonald's. By Chase with over 14,000 ATMs nationwide. Chase, what matters. By Boar's Head Premium Deli Meats and Cheeses. And by Lexus, the new HS Hybrid. Changes for the Mets. Brian Schneider will come in to catch the ninth inning. Corey Sullivan stays in the game in left field. And Francisco Rodriguez will come on to pitch for New York. There's Sullivan.
Well, this is the big out right here. This is the one guy you got to be careful with. One swing, he could tie this ball game.
Josh Willingham, who homered in the ninth inning last night, takes ball one. Well, K-Rod's last outing in Atlanta on Thursday did not go well, or Wednesday, I should say. Gave up 2 runs in the ninth inning. The leadoff double by Garrett Anderson that got by Murphy, and then Murphy's error that allowed the winning run to score. In between, K-Rod hit a batter, gave up a sacrifice fly to Omar Infante, and it all wound up as a blown save, the 6th of the year for Francisco. One and one to Willingham with Orr and Desmond to follow. And there's a strike with a fastball, 1-2. K-Rod trying to save it for Tim Redding, who went 7 innings plus and was tremendous today. Allowed just 4 hits and 1 earned run. Continuing his run of solid pitching. Frankie bidding for his 32nd save. He has 31, exactly half as many as he had last year with the Angels when he set the all-time record. 1-2, struck him out through the fastball by Willingham, 1 away.
Well, 4 pitches, 3 fastballs. And got rid of a very dangerous power bat in Willingham.
Now, don't forget, for continuing coverage of Mets baseball following our game today, flip it over to SNY for Lincoln Mercury post-game live. All the highlights, interviews, and reactions to today's game on SNY right after today's game. Here's Pete Orr, who's 0 for 3 today and thinks about a bunt and takes ball 1. Orr has popped up, grounded out, and struck out. 0 for 3. The Nationals 2 runs and 5 hits. The Mets 3 runs and 6 hits. Each team has made 1 error, and each error led to a run. And Orr fouls it off, 1-1. Well, K-Rod was very vocal. I don't want to say very vocal. He was pointed in his criticism of Daniel Murphy for not knocking down that double by Garrett Anderson the other night. And I think it's a mistake that Daniel will not make again, to assume a ball is foul.
Well, you never want to assume, for obvious reasons.
Grounded toward the hole. Castillo with a beautiful sprawling stop, and he got him. Oh my, what a play by Luis Castillo. 2 out.
Well, it's as good as it gets. This is just sprawled out, knocks it down, and a strong throw, and just a beautiful play. That is an outstanding play, and he kind of fell awkwardly.
That is as fine a play as we've seen Castillo make this season, and that was just a thing of beauty.
Beautiful play.
So now 2 out and nobody on. The Nats down to their final out, and Ian Desmond takes a big rip, 0-1. So K-Rod getting helped out by his defense there on an outstanding play by Castillo. Desmond is 0 for 3, flied out, grounded out, and fouled out. One and 1 to Desmond. Jorge Padilla is due up next, but Elijah Dukes has come out on deck to pinch hit if Desmond can keep the game going. 1-1 from K-Rod. Fouled away, and now the Nats are down to their final strike.
Both Wright and Murphy guarding the line. Murphy not as much. Got 2 outs. I don't want any doubles down that line. But that's coming from the bench. That'd be a lot closer.
1-2. Check swing foul, and Desmond stays alive.
Barely. I mean, with 2 outs, you don't want anything down the line in a double. And then it sets up a base hit to tie the ball. You will look at the pitcher. He got completely full fastball away. Just barely got the bat on the ball. The ball's a base hit to your right. Okay, they got to hit a double to beat you, not a single if it's a double, obviously. David's got the line covered. Murph got a little bit too much over there. Only 2 outs. Get closer.
David right in the shadow of that light stanchion. 1-2 to Desmond. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Frankie Rodriguez registers his 32nd save of the year as he saves it for Tim Redding, who was brilliant today. And the Mets snap their 6-game losing streak as they get even with the Nats, winning 3-2.
Well, a well-pitched ball game by Tim Redding. Outdueled the Long Beach native John Lannon, who went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs. But Redding went 7 plus, 2 runs, 1 earned. The bullpen came in, did a great job, particularly Feliciano getting Adam Dunn on a ground ball to Castillo. Frankie closes out with 2 strikeouts, his 32nd save. Daniel Murphy drove in 2 of the 3 Met runs today. So the Mets get on the winning board. It's been almost a week since they've won a ball game.
Took him just 2 hours and 18 minutes to do it. For all the success John Lannon had against the Mets in Washington, he still has never won at Flushing. As the Mets beat Lannon today, Redding gets a well-deserved victory, and the Mets get him just enough runs. Frankie Rodriguez does the rest with a 1-2-3 ninth, a couple of strikeouts, including Desmond to end it, and the Mets win it 3-2. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.